I often write in my journal every couple of days. I try as best as I can to make it a daily habit, but I have to be honest with you, it is hard sometimes. And I wanted to share something with you that I wrote a couple of months before being able to think about her next act that I think is relevant as we close out our time together. So let me read this from my journal. She saw her power and she was no longer scared. She felt her power and she no longer resisted. She embraced her power and stood tall and proud. For deep inside, she knew her power had always been there. It took an act of courage, one that she had both been prepared for and knew was coming. And in that moment of before and after, she became her own next act.
Hi there. Welcome to Unspeakable Leadership, a space that transcends time, borders, and barriers to reclaim our stories as women of color, leading in organizations, communities, and in our own lives. I'm your host, Rohene Bouajram. With a 20-year career trajectory of leadership, an aspiring storyteller, mom of a son and a fur baby, first-generation immigrant, and uninvited guest in Canada, I want to thank you for being on this journey with me. Let us grow together in conversation.
8 weeks ago, we began the third season of Unspeakable Leadership. It is so hard to believe that this is our season's final episode. I find myself returning to the image of my childhood silkworms, these gentle, sweet little creatures whose transformation I once mistook for loss. I've come to learn over the course of our time together that that's often what growth feels like. It feels like something is slipping away, when in truth, we are only shedding what no longer fits the miracle we are becoming. This season, her next act has felt like that kind of transformation, and I hope that you have felt that same feeling too. Gentle in places, fierce in others, uncertain at times, but certainly sacred. We invited women who had dared to rewrite their scripts, the scripts that were handed to them, and often at times, scripts that did not fit with the women that they wanted to become. Women who said yes to pivots, took time to rest, and also engaged in truth-telling and understanding what it means to have their own power within that liberates and provides freedom. They showed us what it looks like to listen inward before we lead outward. And I hope that you heard a resounding message where I offered the invitation for us to think about alignment over achievement, to let the dreams that we once whispered in silence become the blueprints for something freer, bolder, and more ours. In each conversation, I truly witnessed a powerful creative reclamation of identity, voice, joy, and vision. Not just as a neat beginning or a polished end, because none of those are actually part of her next act, but rather a powerful next move. I imagine you saw this too. So let me take a moment to thank our phenomenal guests. Gabriela, Kahsennenhawe, Rasie, Valincia, Jam, and Irene. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I don't think I could have enough words to say thank you. But I'm hoping that these few words will offer the gratitude that I have not only in my heart, but in my mind and in my soul. You each offered not just in insights and stories and lessons learned. You are really the embodiment of her next act. You gifted us with your laughter, your grief, your courage, and simply just you. Thank you for showing up in your fullness and letting us see what it means to be a masterpiece in progression, not just in position or a title. To Michaela Matomi, oh my sister, you have been with me right from the beginning, and with each season, we lift each other up in our individual and collective vision. Thank you for your strategic brilliance and your heart-centered support, which often shows up in WhatsApp messages in the evening, or sometimes in little voice notes that we send back and forth between each other. Each of these little steps and ways of connection continue to help me bring the mission and vision behind Unspeakable Leadership to life with intention. And to you, my sister, for listening and watching, thank you. Whether you press play during a commute, while folding laundry, or part of your morning routine, or if you were just simply looking at your journal and reflecting while listening, you were here. You bore witness. You reflected, wrestled, and maybe even reshaped a part of your story in the process. That matters more than you will ever know. I know the name of our podcast is Unspeakable Leadership. And whilst, yes, we have focused on conversations around leadership, this podcast isn't just that. It's about the life that we are also leading and building. It's about the freedom and the liberation that we are creating collectively. And you are a part of that. Now we will need to take a pause, as we have done so between season to season. So the transformation that we have been on this journey together on, let me remind you, we started our season 1 with an exploration of what does it look like when women of color lead. And you met incredible women on that journey. In season 2, we did some heavy lifting together. And we started to think about how do we reimagine ourselves when we break the cycles of some really deep-seated, at times, wounds that we needed to confront, redefine, and heal together. And so as we end our 3rd season, her next act, I invite you to take a moment just for you. Remember, you are not too late. You are not too much. You are not broken. You are breaking through. You are the author, the ancestor, the next act. As we take the pause, maybe your next act isn't a pivot, but it's time to just slow down and listen to the stillness within. Maybe it's not about becoming someone else, but finally coming home to yourself. May you follow the rhythm of your own becoming, knowing that your transformation, like that of the silkworm, is never in vain. Just as the silkworm spins its cocoon in silence, trust that your stillness too is sacred, with wings that await. Until next time, walk boldly, love deeply, and lead unspeakably. Take care. I'll see you soon.